Welcome to the Lila Life Show. I'm your host, Linda Andrews, and you've tuned in to the right place to up-level in your life and business. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Lila Life Show. I'm your host, Linda Andrews, and I am happy to be with you today. Today's episode is entitled, There Will Be Shadow Work to Do, because this is an invitation to look within yourself and see, are there parts of yourself holding yourself back from being your full self? That's a mouthful. Today, I'm recording on the fall equinox where we have half day light, half day dark at that perfect balance. So this is a really powerful day to be in a resetting and a rebalancing of the energies. And I want to start by reading you a little takeaway that I have specific for the energies we're moving through. It doesn't matter if you're listening to this exactly on today. The invitation is to just reflect and see, like what was I processing over the past few months? Does this feel true? And am I still processing parts of this? So the old dying energies are releasing from your system. To the mind, it can feel real, like the things leaving are real. Notice yourself getting entangled in what energies are trying to clear. Keep grounding. The God within you and all are unraveling around the planet. Take time to celebrate. Focus on what is real now versus the illusions that are falling away. See more clearly. The more you give yourself to the process, the smoother it can be. So if you're feeling like you're in a particularly rocky, resistant time, the question is, can you be in acceptance of this process? Allow yourself to surrender to it, and can it actually feel smoother for you because that resistance isn't so intense? So the real inspiration for this episode is watching and observing what a lot of people are going through, including myself, where these old habits and patterns and processes that are still maybe in motion, and how when you have a deep awareness of a darker part of yourself or a part of yourself that you may not be letting yourself access, that those then habits, patterns, behaviors fall away. So specifically talking about shadow work, what I invite you to do is to just, and this doesn't have to be right now, you can re-listen to this, you can journal, you can take notes and then journal later, you can take notes and meditate later, do what works for you, always. But what I would recommend is to take some sacred time, feeling safe, right? Creating some safety in your system. So this could be through some breath work, through some just grounding, meditation. And when you feel like you've set that environment to look into yourself and look back in time and ask yourself, are there some sticky spots or parts of myself that I'm rejecting? Are there secrets that I'm holding on to? Are there things I'm not admitting to myself? When that resistance is stagnant and deep within, like on a soul level and on a cellular level, it can really clog things up and not allow you to move forward and transform and grow because there's like a stickiness in the stagnation. So getting yourself into this meditative, calm state, feeling safe, and then looking back, what secrets am I holding on to? What do I have within me that if, my closest friends or family found out, I'd be mortified? What parts of myself am I rejecting? And what can really be guidance over time to this work is, what are your triggers? What are my triggers? What are parts of me that are in comparison or jealousy or judgment? And start to look behind whatever that is and see, again, what parts of myself am I rejecting? What am I keeping secret? What parts of me am I ashamed of? Guilt and shame, these are huge pieces of this too. I'm at this point quite an open book, but I had racked up a shitload of debt in my 20s and I was mortified. And I worked in finance and wealth management. I was a VP. I'm making six figures. Like I just like hated that I put myself in that position. And a lot of my family, like lots of people do not know this. It's like, I finally just started talking about it as though it's like I ordered a latte for breakfast. It's like, yeah, I put myself in a really tough position. It was really tough on my marriage. Like, like I don't know what to say. Like a lot of things that I had to grow through and go through to get to a different place. And when I stopped having shame about that, I could allow myself to have intimacy about that, and I could allow myself to be supported and face it and take personal responsibility and grow through. So in my opinion, we can't be talking about shadow work without talking about personal responsibility in the sense of ownership, owning the emotions. It doesn't make traumas and injustice or anything of the past right ever, right? Like, I'm not saying like it gets a free pass. No. But what it does is empower you to be in this space of personal responsibility, take ownership of emotions and processing to be able to transmute that energy. And this is really, really huge. So when you are feeling yourself in a space of safety to do this work, right? Getting into the shadow, can you approach it from, I take 100% responsibility for how I'm showing up today, how I'm processing my emotions today and every day forward. And I think this is a really big distinction because sometimes when I say take personal responsibility, for everything and everything that's ever happened, that's a pretty overwhelming ask because we can't ever go back in time, right? It's like, what? You want me to do what? No, I want you to do that from today and today forward. And there'll be a deeper level of integrity with your emotions and the processing that will allow you to step forward and be able to uh, just show up differently. And that's how the baggage and the past and the traumas start to heal even more and more and faster and faster. Okay, personal responsibility segue from personal responsibility of emotions and processings to also like who you want to be, what you're creating. And there's a really special, like sweet, it feels very sweet invitation here to tap into these little glimpses of what I would call like the lost parts of your now self. So let me give you another example. I used to love rap music and like really loved it. I don't know what else to say. And through my like spiritual and yogic path, it's like I'm very sensitive. So even sometimes sound, music, it can feel really overwhelming, noise. In our household, we are like a lights down low, beautiful, different relaxing musics, candles, like that's a lot of the environment that I'm in on a regular basis that I create within myself and then I'm experiencing. And so sometimes like the frenetic energy, just chaos, I can feel pretty sensitive to that. So like rap music feels like that for me often. And the other day I'm doing my morning workout. Doing my Peloton class. I have like the Peloton app without the bike. So I do the strength workouts. I do not have a bike at home anymore. We got rid of the bike. I hated this bike. I thought I liked it. And then I was like, I hate this bike. Anyway, so now this is the workout routine right now. And I'm like listening to the music and it's some of my favorite rap songs from back in the day or like new ones I haven't heard. I'm like a shameless Shazammer, like, who's that? Oh, that's Drake. Okay. A true story. And I'm just smiling and like radiating and dancing nerdy and dancing sexy and dancing whatever. And I'm like, "Oh god, like, I love that part of myself, like, where did you go?" And so that's what I would call a glimpse. It's like when you're feeling really safe and really in the flow and in the zone, and these parts of yourself that like they may only come out on special occasions, but they're actually like dying to come out more and more. And what I noticed too is there could be parts of yourself that you like tempered down, turned down. So like let's say you were in your 20s and you really like wore that flag loud, that you loved that, and maybe it was overdone. It's like there's a tendency to swing all the way in the other direction, to like completely reject that part of self. And what we're ultimately looking for is this balance point where, it's Goldilocks, as my incubator says that I'm in, her incubator shout out. We're looking just for that perfect, they're actually talking about, I believe, our fundraise, but we're talking about this perfect balance point of not too much and not too little, but like still the authentic self. And I think once it gets to these extremes, that's where there's some shadow, right? Because it's not safe to be those parts of yourself. And so coming back to, okay, like where is that happening to me? Is there something that's overly expressed? Is there something that I'm rejecting and really dimming? Can I find these balance points of these glimpses of my authentic self? And really the other part of the guide here is the joy spot, the sweet spot, that joy sweet spot. Lila life, Lila means divine play. It's like when you're in that flow and playfulness and just like the life, like you're just the shitty and grin of life, like life. So why is this so important right now? There is a lot of darkness that needs to move through on a collective level, right? Like we see some crazy shit happening in the world. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter where you're standing, you're seeing crazy shit. So to move through this darkness within yourself, to reclaim lost parts of yourself, is what brings you into this leadership position of you being you. And you being you as close to 100%, because no one else can be you. And the more that you can be you, other people have the freedom then and the inspiration to be them. And a world full of people tapping into, owning, living into their authentic, true, real self shamelessly, right? The guilt and the shame melting away. We have a very different world that we're living in. And it doesn't matter what theory, what side of the aisle, what position, what any kind of separation you find yourself in, it does not matter. This work needs to be done for everyone. And so if you are using some of the chaos of the world around you right now to stop you from doing the work, we're just looking for an observation, not a judgment, and just curiosity. Why? Awareness. Why? Why am I distracting myself so much with things that I don't even know if are true and are out of my control? What am I not doing? And this work, if it's some of that that you're not doing, there may be an invitation for you in here. So at Lila Life, we have some amazing coaches that facilitate this work. I am certain most people aren't coming to work with a coach to dive into shadow work, right? But they may be coming to a coach to leave their job, to start a relationship, to start a job, to start a business, to start a career, to leave a relationship, right? They may be coming to coaching to work through some of these transformations. And often what is getting in the way is the extent that you're willing to go into these deep, 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 dark parts of yourself and liberate the darkness for freedom. That's my little like, let's make that a little tagline. Liberate the darkness for freedom. Liberate your darkness for freedom, then liberating the darkness for freedom, right? I am a part of the whole is a part of me. The last thing I want to say to end our episode, especially for anyone looking to take any leap of faith out there were a few different leaps of faiths I had to take over the past several years, especially leaving my former career and coming into entrepreneurship, the podcasting, running the company, definitely rubbing up against some shadow work. And sometimes some of the hardest parts of life, whether it is the current job, the current relationship, the current family dynamics, whatever, that are feeling so hard that and you just want to run away, it is showing up to be healed. It is up in your face to the surface to be healed. Are you taking the invitation or not? And if you are not, and you're running away, you better believe it's coming for you again and again and again until you are ready to move through it and be healed. The fastest way to fast track this process is to notice when your intense emotions arise, let yourself feel what is bubbling up, let yourself and not identify as that, right? You are not your feelings, you have feelings. So it can move through. And in that safety of the feelings moving through, it unlocks the repressed emotions that have been pushed down over, say, however old you are. So there's work to be done. Thus, again, the title of today's episode, There Will Be Shadow Work to Do. Take the invitation if you're ready. If you need support, consider working with a Lila life coach. Many blessings. We are here to support you on your journey. And if you want to access our on-demand membership, please sign up for the Lila Life Collective. It's $11 a month. You can do month-to-month, paid in full, or lifetime access. And I really think if you commit to doing that daily or a few times a week, taking in the tidbits here and there, our different coaches have different specialties. You get access to my whole online course called Life Expanded for that membership price. It's like a real generous gift. So it's a real foundation to a jumping off point if you are diving deeper. And I don't discriminate. We do not discriminate here. What I mean by that is like, get your team in place, get your team, your support group, the people that are here to support you on doing this unpacking on your journey. I highly recommend body work. If feeling embodiment is a challenge and it doesn't feel safe for you to be in your body safely, and having people touch you doesn't feel safe, right? That so you're not maybe fully embodied, and body work by another practitioner doesn't feel good. Certainly yoga, movement, the more that you can move the energy, getting on that foam roller is powerful. And that paired with uh, either a coach, therapist, personal trainer, whatever you need, like get your team in place and start small. Start in a place that feels somewhat comfortable, like mildly uncomfortable, meaning like if you're like, oh, I just don't want to do that, I can't afford it. Like, I'm not trying to tell anybody to spend X dollars and go into tremendous debt and whatever. It's like doing that next step that works for you, that pushes your edge a bit, that lets you allow in more healing to get to the next step, to push the edge to a bit to allow you to get more feeling. And where are you going through this healing and feeling? You are coming home to a place of wholeness, deservingness, and worthiness that is available to each and every one of us. You, okay? Namaste, my friends. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you next week on the Lila Life Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Lila Life Show. Be sure to share, like, and comment. Tune in next week. And if you're not already a member of the Lila Life Collective, you'll want to be. So take a look in the show notes and be sure you sign up today. Have a beautiful day.